So a recent study by Qualtrics in the UK showed that on average, each of us spends some 23 minutes of every hour trying to move people. That means trying to persuade them to take on a new perspective, a new point of view, adopt some new behaviours, whatever it might be. So we were wondering that if you are spending almost half of your working day trying to influence and move people, just how long do you spend thinking about how you do that very skill of influencing?
Yeah, quite. I was reading some research recently, and the research asked how many times a day do you get influenced, either by people or things? And most people answer that question by saying 20 or 30. In fact, the real number is 400. So 400 times a day, from the moment you wake up to the moment your head hits the pillow, you're potentially open to various different elements of influence. So what are the foundations of effective influencing?
Yeah, and we got very interested in this when Jerry and I wrote the first book, which was Brilliant Selling, back in 2009. And part of the primary research for that book was that we interviewed over 150 highly effective salespeople. So they had to meet a set of criteria. And what emerged from those interviews was something we weren't expecting. It was a new model for effective influence, because today's best salespeople, rather than sell, they look to influence.
Exactly.
And so what came out of that was 3 components, which Jerry will describe in a moment, which were present in everyone that we interviewed who were highly effective in the process of influencing in the context of selling. Now, we then subsequently tested this model all around the world, and with managers, leaders, a whole variety of different people in different circumstances.
Partners in professional service firms.
Absolutely. So we know that as a model of effective influence, this really works.
So let's have a look at the model. It's called the C-Cube model of influencing. So as you can see, there are 3 component parts to this model. First of all, right at the top there, you can see confidence. If you want to influence either an individual or a group, you've got to be very confident. If you come across as someone who's not confident, who's suffering from nerves or fearful in some way, then that will impact negatively on your ability to influence others. So you've got to get confident, and we'll show you ways in this video series about how to do that.
And in fact, we'll show you ways to do that both at a surface level through tactics that you can learn really easily, but also at a deep level through the way that you practice these skills.
Exactly. The other 2 component parts are credibility and connection. Now, credibility is critical. That comes from the Latin credo, which means I believe, and that typically comes from your knowledge, your expertise, your experience, your reputation. That underpins your credibility, but there are other factors in play. And then the final piece is connection. Nowadays, if you want to influence, actually connections probably become even more important than when we started in business, you know, what it was 25 years ago or so. So you need to be able to connect, you need to be able to build rapport with either an individual or a group. You've got to effectively get them to like you. That's what you've got to do.
Yeah, and the interesting thing about those 2, in addition to the fact that both are necessary, highly effective influencers balance both of those things.
That's right.
They know how to demonstrate evidence and build both credibility and connection, and during the course of their conversations, they move between the 2. And that's one of the things we're going to teach you how to do in this video series.